Okay, for this question 3, coming from this November 2023 question paper, it's a question on module 3, financial documents. Like in this particular question, for the 3.1, we have income and expenses. It's a table separating the two transactions, right? Income imali engenayo. Expenses is it's how the money is spent, the income is spent. So it's basically a budget, ne? It's basically a document on a budget. Then there's also the second part of the question 3, which talks about this, an invoice document, right? So it's 3.1 and 3.2 for this question. Yeah? So let's start with 3.1, the budget part of the question. Now there's this and this part of the question, but let me just hide this part of the question for now. So that's pendulelana, and then I'll show the rest of the questions related to 3.1. So Orashna is a student at the TVET college. The table below shows her income and expenditure for the first 3 months of 2022. Study the table and answer the questions. Now it's a 3-month. It's a 3-month. Okay, this table is showing us 3 months for the year 2022, January to March. Ne? I'll study the income part for a moment. So for the income, we have money coming from our parents. January 4.5, February 4.5, March 4.5. It hasn't changed. A part-time job, imali yakhona ya fluctuate. Do you see that? Now, this also affects the total income yake for month to month. Under expenses, we have a rent. It hasn't changed. Food, fluctuate, right? I think it could be that mhlambe for the food, maybe somewhere in between, she was also getting ama takeaways, making with the malaki increase and decrease. I don't know. There could be some other reason making with the malaki fluctuate. Airtime, 200, 180, and then another 200. Entertainment, 650, 500, 550. It change, like a variable. It change from time to time. Food, airtime, and entertainment. Even I'm a savings swag. 400 on February, she did not save anything. And then go March, she saved 200 rand. Now, we can answer the first question again. So, name one fixed income from the table. Fixed, it's something that does not change. So, from the income part of the statement, we can see that with the thing that doesn't change, it's what? It's the money from parents. It's coming from the money from parents. 3.1.2. Yeah, just look at it. Look at it. Money from parents is 4.5, 4.5, 4.5. It's fixed. It doesn't change. Now with 3.1.2, name one variable expense from the table. Name one variable expense. I think all the expenses are changing. All of them are changing except for one, which is the rent. This is changing. Airtime is changing. Entertainment as well as savings. You just need to list one. It could be any of the two, any out of the 4. So I would list my savings as a variable expense. 3.1.3. Did Rashna have a surplus or a deficit during February 2022? Show your calculations. So these terms, surplus means that okay, Okay, pegala. Use the formula. Surplus deficit is equal to income minus any expense, right? So I would say, I would describe surplus as extra, right? Because a surplus is something that oile mali le isalayo after subtracting income nani the expense. It's money that remains behind. A deficit, a deficit. How can I describe this, Mar? We can explain it mhlambe as something like something lacking, or yeah, I think lack could be a better word. Something lacking. Like for example, let's say mhlambe ama expenses wako aba more than what you are earning, right? So when you take the difference, when you subtract the two values, right, the income and the expenses, utokuti your expenses are more than income yako, right? So it means that you have spent more than what you earn. So it means that there's gonna be a lag somewhere, right? So when you say budget yakho, you went over your budget if there's a deficit, and the value yakhona siyibona by a negative value, siyibona by a negative answer. Okay. So in this instance again, did Rashna have a surplus or a deficit? Now, how do we calculate this? Bati, the surplus or deficit, we calculate it like this: income minus my expenses. What is the income? February, it's 4,900. Minus the expenses in February, that's 5,186, equal to 4,900 minus 5,186 equal to, I'm getting a negative 286. So we would conclude and say, therefore, she had a deficit. So she spent more than what she was earning, right? So it could be with some of the money that she spent, she could have borrowed some of that money. Ne? She could have borrowed some of that money. So that is why Sibane negative, right? Because it's a negative because of my expenses were bigger more than what she was earning, right? Okay. Next question. Let's go. I don't have to hide this. I can hide perhaps this part and let's hit this part again. Okay. Now, level 3.1.4, give Rashna two suggestions as to how she can make sure that her expenses are not higher than her income. Okay. Mina, I would say cut expenses on entertainment. Yeah, just spend less, man. Go entertainment. Spend less on entertainment. Or they're asking for two. Should I say save less? Okay. Savings, in my opinion, they are much more important than entertainment as well as iloganj, airtime, because for our savings you can save for unseen or unprepared for circumstances. So savings are very important. I would actually encourage her to save even more instead of saying save less. I would say for the airtime, perhaps spend less on airtime. This would be the second suggestion. Spend less on airtime, cut expenses on entertainment, or any other sound reason that you can provide will be accepted, of course. 3.1.5, 3.1.5. So that they were asking for 2. Now, some months Rashna manages to save some money. Give one reason why is it important to save money every month. As I've explained, to prepare for unforeseen circumstances, right? Unforeseen or unprepared for circumstances, right? Or save for a rainy day, right? A rainy day. This is actually a English expression, right? A rainy day for unforeseen or unprepared for circumstances. Save for a rainy day. So, yes. Okay. Next question, 3.1.6. Now, this is a rate question. I'll explain why. Rashna pays a rate of 79 cents per minute for airtime. Rashna pays a rate of 79 cents per minute for airtime. How many minutes of airtime did she buy in January 2022? Round your answer to the nearest minute. Now, minutes used. Minutes used is equal to back. How much has she spent on the airtime in January? She spent about 200, right? She spent about 200. Can I write here? Yeah, she spent about 200. So, what is the rate? So the minutes used are going to be calculated as the amount spent divided by rate. Izosinikeza the minutes, number of minutes used. Amount spent, she spent 200. Let's divide by 0.79. Let's get the answer. 200 over 0.79. I'm getting 253 comma 16, but it round off to the nearest minute, so it's gonna be a 253 minutes. So this is our final answer. Ne? This is gonna be our final answer. This is the number of minutes that she spent or used on airtime yak. It's 253 minutes. All right, we go for yes. Okay, then we go for the last one with 3.1.7. The equation below represents the transaction fee for depositing money into Rashna's bank account. The transaction fee nailapa. It says 10 rand, which is constant. Ne? Or let me use maybe a much more explanatory word. So this is fixed fee. There's a fixed fee. Where to keep 100 rand or 200 rand, 500 rand or 700 rand. Okusala le 10 rand le, it's a fixed fee. You hlezi uyibhadala. Ne? You hlezi uyibhadala. Then there's also this fee of 50 cent, 0.5 rands, 50 cent per 100 rand oyikhiphayo. So let's say mhlambe ukhipha 200 rand. Ne? Let's say mhlambe you are drawing 200 rand. There's gonna be this fee of 10 rand plus 0.5 per 100 rand. So ngoba 200 rand inama 100 rand ayi-2. The fee or the transaction fee also keep, it's gonna be this 10 rand plus 0.5 times 2. Remember, I'm taking out 200 out of the bank. So the 200 rand has how many 100 rands? 200. I mean, the 200 rand has 2 100s. So it's going to be 0.5 multiplied by 2. Say mhlambe you were taking out 100, let's say 500 rand. The fee also is 10 rand plus 0.5 per 100 rand. How many 100 rands do we have in a 500? It's 5. So 0.5 times 5. Another example would be a fee that is 10 rand plus. Let's say you are taking out 900. It's going to be 0.5 multiplied by 900. Now, let's check again with the how much is she depositing. Oh, okay, it's a deposit fee, not a withdrawal fee, but it's the same idea. It's the same idea. Instead of withdrawing, but when you are depositing. So keep that idea of a per 100 rand, per 100 rand. Now, calculate the transaction fee for making a deposit of 3,000 rand into Rashna's bank account. So, you have a 3,000 rand, you're going to deposit into Rashna's bank account. This is the transaction fee. So, transaction fee, it's this one, equal to 10 rand, the first one, plus 0.5 per 100 rand, per 100 rand. So we have this 10 rand plus 0.5. How many 100 rands do we have in 3,000? You take 3,000 wako. We have divided by 100. You want to find out in that 3,000, how many 100 rands do we have? So 3,000 divided by 100, lay cancel day. It's actually 30 of them. There's 30 Yama 100 rands in 3,000. So we're going to take this and multiply with it here. 30, it's going to be equal to 10 plus 0.5 times 30. Answer, it's 25 rand. So Nagayo depositor, she's going to pay how much? 25 rand as a deposit fee in total. All right. Here's the last question under 3.1. So 3.1.8, Rashna is paid 120 rand per hour for a part-time job. How many hours does she have to work to earn how much? 3,000 rand per month. Okay, let's check. Let us check. Okay. Now hourly rate yaga Rashna, it's 120. Ne? Salary that she wants to earn per month, it's 300. Now the question is, how much or how many hours must she work in order to earn this much per month? Okay, again, it's the same idea we had with this question or this one. Nope. It will begin. Oh, must be this one. Nope. Where is it again? This one. Nope. Oh, okay. No. Yeah, this one. This question was where? EP this question again. Yeah, this one. 3.1.6. Rashna pays a rate of, right? Rate. Even this question, it's a rate question. It's also a rate question. Rashna is paid this rate for the part-time job. How many hours does she have to work? So, sizotige. Therefore, hours to be worked is equal to the salary divided by the rate. Izosinikeza the number of hours. So this is 3,000 over a rate of 120 divided by 120 is total 25 hours. So she will have to work 25 hours. That means that the 24 hours is not it's not the hours she's gonna work for the whole day. Ne? It's hours that will be spread across different days, of course. So maybe 4 hours one day, 4 hours another day, so on and so forth, right? But in total, she must work 24 hours, 25 hours for the whole month, né? For the whole month. All right, so this is 3.1. Let's go ahead and calculate or answer 3.2. 3.2. All right, so lana basiphe a tax invoice. An invoice. Study the financial document below and answer the questions. How do I know with the invoice now? We are told the lapa. It's coming from which company? Digitech. I see this the residential address for the business, cell phone number, email, website. It's directed to this individual. Now my contact details work. Invoice date, it's this. Invoice for cell phone purchase, right? Cell phone purchase. So an invoice, it's more like a slip, right? It's a slip. It's a slip. That thing we told I shop, right? About printer on that smaller piece of paper there. It's an invoice, okay? So in the invoice, let's check ukuthi uthenga in. Tenga a cell phone, it costs this much. Tenga a protective cover, costing this much. But the cover is exposed or in a discounted 20%, right? So from 500 rand, you decrease it to a 400 rand because of this 20% discount. Then the phone no discount, so batala the full amount. Okay. Then there's A and B. We don't know what do A and B uban, but the total invoice subtotal now 8,000 rand. Adding these two values is equal for 8,000 rand. There's also another piece of information, né? And then this is VAT exclusive, VAT exclusive. What does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? I think there's gonna be a question is puzago lapho, né? So let's put up the questions ngala. Okay, so 3.2.1, what type of financial document is shown above? Invoice. It's the invoice document. What does it mean if a price is VAT exclusive? It means that VAT is not included. VAT is not included. VAT is not included. VAT exclusive, that's what it means. If VAT is included, it would say VAT included. Included. It would mean that VAT is included. Now, name one product that was purchased. Obviously, it's the cellular phone or the protective cover. Any of the two would be the right answer. Now, calculate the missing values of A and B as shown on the invoice. All right. Okay. Now, the A value is somehow based off 8,000 rand, right? So check out on this. It says VAT of 15%. VAT of what? Of the subtotal. So let's calculate the VAT of the 15%. 3.2.4. Calculating A would be this: 8,000 multiplied by 15 over 100. So we want 15% of the 8,000. Let's check how much is that. So 8,000 times 15 over 100. I'm getting 1,200. 1,200. So that is A. And then B, it's the total. Okay. So we now know for A, this is 1,200. So it's this value plus this value. It gives us the total of B. So B is gonna be the A value plus 8,000 rand. So A 1,002 and 8,000 rand. So that's 9,200 rand. This is the final answer for B. Okay. Then good 3.2.6 no 3.2.5. How many days does the buyer have to pay the total amount? How much? How much? Oh no, how many days? It's this little clause la. Total due in 30 days. Late payments are subjected to the late fees of 2% per month. So 3.2.5 is 30 days. That's 3.2.5. And then 3.2.6, calculate the discount in rent which was received by Semambo. Okay. I did a highlight nyana la while we were analyzing the invoice. So this was the total amount, right? This was the total amount to be paid, but because there's a 20% discount, iya drop about 400. So we can calculate it like this. Calculate the amount, the discount in rent which was received by Usam. So it's gonna be 500 minus 400 is equal to 100. Oh, mhlawumbe ungayishaya so uthi okay, 20% discount value 500 multiplied by 20 over 800. Yes, 800, then go about 500 multiplied by 20 over 100. So again you still get 200 rand. Also there's two ways of answer. Calculate how much more money will Sambo pay if he decided to pay after 30 days. So if we are idlula le 30 days, you make a late payment, how much more money will you pay if you are Usambo? Okay, you are Usambo. All right, so the total amount that I'm owing is this. I think, yeah, 3.2.7. How much am I owing? I'm owing this much, 9,200. Lo 9,200, it's this value. 9,200, it's the B value. Let's see, calculate it. Now, if you patala this money after 30 days, how much more will you pay? So, batata lo 9,200, but multiply on 2% over 100. So, you're gonna pay 2% extra per month if you just skip after 2 days, after 30 days. So this is gonna be 9,200 multiplied by 2%. So uzopatala 184 extra amount. This concludes our discussion lana ku question 3. I hope you told some value out of this discussion. I hope you gain something. I hope you learned something. Check out the description box. I'll leave links for other questions and I'll pendulate for this question paper. So for now, signing out. Bye bye.